Here's a chapter many people skip, but one that is theologically powerful once you understand why it exists, okay? So, Ezra 2 is a long list of names, families, and numbers. At first glance, it looks boring, but it's actually a declaration of identity, continuity, and faithfulness, okay? This chapter answers one core question: who are God's people after exile, right? So, it's not a filler. It serves four major purposes. The first one, historical verification. These are real families returning to real towns. Second, covenant continuity. Exile did not erase God's people. Third, legal legitimacy. Land ownership, priesthood, and worship depend on genealogy. Fourth, personal value. God records names, not just events. This chapter says, you were scattered but not forgotten, okay? So the return is not chaotic. It's organized and led. The leaders include Zerubbabel, a David descendant, Joshua, a spiritual leader, and other officials and heads of families. Restoration requires both political leadership and spiritual leadership. So Zerubbabel, represents the royal line of David, promise preserved, and Joshua represents the priesthood, worship restored. So then the chapter lists families by name, the number of people in each family, towns they originally belonged to, and why? Because God is restoring land inheritance, tribal identity, and community structure. God restores people to places, not just beliefs, right? So this also shows the return is voluntary. Families return together. Faith survives generations in exile. Worship is central. The list carefully identifies priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, temple servants, and this shows worship is not improvised. Roles are restored according to the law. God's house requires order, not enthusiasms alone, right? So some families claim priestly descent, but cannot prove it. This is critical because the leaders decide they may not serve as priests until priests can consult the Urim and Thummim. Yeah, this stuff. This is not punishment, it's protection. God values holiness over speed. Better to lay worship hosts than corrupt the priesthood. So then, the grand total, 42,360 people, plus servants, singers, and livestock, okay? This is a small group compared to the pre-exile Israel. But size doesn't matter. God rebuilds faithfully, not impressively. And before building their own houses, the people give. They donate like gold, silver, priestly garments, and this mirrors Exodus' generosity, Hezekiah's revival, Josiah's reform. Okay, the restoration begins with worship, not comfort. So here are the key lessons from this chapter. The first one is God knows every name. Lists are not boring to God. Second lesson, faith is inherited and preserved. Families return together. Third, worship requires order. Roles matter, boundaries matter, right? Fourth, holiness comes before convenience. Unverified priests are paused, not rushed. Fifth, small beginnings still count. 42,360 is enough for God to rebuild a nation. Sixth lesson, people matter more than structures. God rebuilds the people before the temple. So in summary, this chapter records the names and families of those who returned from Babylon to Jerusalem. This chapter establishes continuity between pre-exile Israel and the restored community, protects the integrity of worship through verified genealogies, and shows that God values individuals, families, and faithful obedience, right? Though the group is small, their willingness to return and give fully marks the true beginning of restoration, right?